And welcome back to Sack & Co. You know, there are many paths on the journey to love, and for some, the digital road has led to finding the perfect mate. Online dating is how our next guest found love the second time around. We have Katrina Sawa, and she's a marketing expert and author who is here to share her story on finding Mr. Right. And this could also be related to the male perspective to potentially maybe finding Mrs. Right, right?
Of course, yes.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
So tell us, how does someone know that they're ready to date online?
Well, I think it's the #1 way to meet people these days. So I don't think you should ever discount it. In fact, if you're ready to find a man, jump on.
Okay.
And hold on.
Yeah, and hold on, because it's a whole new ballgame,
yeah,
right?
it
Oh my
is.
goodness.
Especially if you've been married for many, many years.
Yes.
It's very foreign.
Yeah, extremely foreign.
Yeah.
Okay, so what made you, though, turn to online dating?
Well, I was around 35 when I divorced, and I didn't want to go to the bar scenes. I also worked from home as an entrepreneur, and so I didn't meet that many people except for women's networking events.
Yeah.
And I would actually go to some of the women's networking events and say, what do you need in the next 30 days? They mean with business. And I said, I need a man, age 42, and I would like say that.
Yeah.
Didn't get anywhere, though.
Odd amongst a group of women
they
that
tried.
you wouldn't meet any men.
They tried.
Okay, yeah, so, and hence you went online.
Yes.
All right, so tell me, though, about your experience going online, what it was like, because like you had mentioned, you know, you were divorced at the age 35, probably been a while. The internet is still kind of a fairly new thing for some generations, and how did this all work?
Well, luckily I was a little business savvy, and so I kind of went in the wrong way. The first time out, I went in business minded.
Okay.
So I was interviewing people, and I had my little checklist, and I was very cut and dry with people, and I actually prejudged too much. So those are the mistakes I made.
Okay.
And I didn't realize I was doing it at the time, unfortunately, so I burned through a lot of potential prospects.
Prospects, relationships. So you were hiring for a job.
Related, yes, related to business, and I still do that now, or I recommend people do that. Think with your head and not with your heart necessarily when you're initially sorting, not dating.
So explain the sorting versus dating, because you have a system.
Yes, and I went out dating the first time. I did meet a wonderful man that we were together for 2 years, but then he broke my heart, and then I had to do some really good work on myself to figure out, okay, maybe something needs to change, or maybe I need to change my outlook, and I did. I needed to change how I was being around men and be more feminine and flirty and enchanting. That's what they want. They want, you know, and I'm very much business oriented, so I had to change a little bit, and I learned a few things about men, and I went back into the dating world the second time around, and I did not interview, and but I realized to lead with my heart instead of my head.
Yeah.
So I didn't just the first time I met somebody go, oh my God, he was so fabulous, and then wait for their call. You know, I didn't do that. I said, okay, well, if he calls me back, then we'll see.
Yeah.
And so it's not until date 3 when I recommend that you are actually dating somebody.
Okay.
So you're not dating them till date 3.
Yeah,
because
okay.
most people don't make it to date 3. So you have to sort those people out.
So if you get to date 3, then clearly there's some kind of a connection there.
There has to be more connection as well as chemistry. Most people say, oh, there's so much chemistry. Well, chemistry, sexual attraction is so important, don't get me wrong, but if you don't have that connection, like if my significant other right now is going through chemo, okay, we've been together 2 years, he's in radiation and chemo, and if it was only about chemistry, I wouldn't still be around, right? But it's all about connection. I want to be with this man till I die, right? So
yeah, it's got to be
to have
that kind of soul, deep purpose.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, though, the websites. What are the go-to websites if you want to meet Mr. and Mrs. Right? And I want to talk about profiles too.
Sure. I can say the names on TV. There's a few that are paid. There's a few that are paid, and I did find that the paid ones had more qualified prospects, so to speak, whereas the free ones had a few qualified people. I mean, I was there. I was a qualified prospect, so I think it's just more of a needle in a haystack on the free ones than it is on the paid ones.
So it may be worth your time.
I totally believe in paying.
The profile, though. Let's talk about the profile. What are some of the things that you should put on, and the things you may just kind of want to leave off?
Really, okay, as a man, men typically don't like to read long profiles, but I wanted a man who would talk to me and be very communicative. So I knew that the man I needed to be with would read every last word of my profile. Okay, so if you're just out there to date and have fun, you may not want to put a very, very long profile out. Okay, but if you're really serious about finding that Mr. Right, then you want to put an extensive, descriptive profile, in my opinion, about your likes, your dislikes, the things. Don't lie about like liking to go camping if you hate camping.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you don't want to mislead somebody. That's,
no,
you just
people
set yourself to fail.
People do, though. They want to conform to whatever. Well, if he likes it, then I'll learn to like it.
Yeah.
No, like really stand in your ground, and before
then you're just building a relationship on false impression,
exactly.
false trust. It's not really who you are.
Yes.
It's just a persona.
Yes.
You're not yourself.
And photos too. Please put realistic photos. Realistic photos, full head to body. I don't care if you think you're overweight or you're going to be too heavy and no one's going to be attracted. The right person will be completely attracted to you. Okay. And so, yeah, you just have to be realistic.
And so, bottom line, be yourself.
Yeah.
So completely be yourself. And how long, though, should someone do this online dating until they kind of feel like, okay, maybe I have a couple of prospects, maybe they're not finding anyone? I have heard of people being on online dating and really leading nowhere, and then they're like, well, I'm going to pull my profile off, and then they decide to go back. So what's the good length, would you say?
Well, I think it's the same as if you're marketing your business. You've got to be all in. And so if you're really serious about building a relationship and finding someone, a really important mate for you, then you need to be all in. When I found my Mr. Right 2 years ago, I was on 4 different websites, 2 paid and 2 free. I had hired a $6,000 dating service, matchmaking service, locally here, that I don't recommend. But
you invested.
But I invested in myself, and I spent about 30% of my day-to-day activities online, sorting and dating and keeping track and talking to people and funneling them to the next step. Right, so email to phone.
So this is an investment. If you're open to love, you have to invest in it and put yourself out there. Where do people go for more information?
My website is loveyourselfsuccessful.com, and I have a great teleseries. If you /teleseries, you'll find out about that. You'll get the book, and it's just one piece of the whole pie, but it's a
great resource if you're looking for love. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Well, you know.